Alrighty, YouTube Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video here. So game balls in the comeback win over the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. Obviously, as all you guys know out there, I come on here each and every week after every 49ers game and give 3 game balls out to players and or coaches. And for this week, to kick it off, starting off here with Christian McCaffrey, 20 carries, 90 total yards, or 90 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 catches for 42 yards as well, so he was well over 100 yards total for the game. I believe he was roughly at like 130 yards or something like that. But I mean, again, man, and I say this every week, but Christian McCaffrey could get a game ball for each and every game that the Niners play. The guy is the best running back in football. He's a force to be reckoned with when defenders are trying to bring him down. Like, Christian McCaffrey is him. And obviously, the plays he made in the passing game and in the rushing game, really put the Niners in a position to win the game. And not only that, but he scored, one of the most important touchdowns of the game all in all. So Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt, gets game ball number 1. I mean, you have to, he was arguably one of the best players on both teams. And without Christian McCaffrey in that game, we don't win the game. And then moving on here, game ball number 2. I'm going to have to go with Deebo Samuel here. I know Brandon Ayuk had that crazy catch, and he obviously had a touchdown to go along with that. But Deebo Samuel, 8 catches for 89 yards. I haven't seen Deebo Samuel get 8 catches in a very long time. Deebo Samuel, obviously coming off of an injury as well, the shoulder injury he's been dealing with. Deebo Samuel absolutely balled out. And I have to show Deebo love and give him a game ball here without a doubt. Obviously, though, you could easily give one to Brandon Ayuk. He had the touchdown. He had the game-winning catch in the whole 9 yards. But honorable mention, without a doubt, would be Brandon Ayuk. But, again, I got to go Deebo here. The guy was all over the place. 8 catches. I don't know exactly how many targets he had in the game. But he caught well over 75% of his targets. He may have went 8 for 8 when it came to catches and targets. Again, I don't know how many targets he had off the top of my head. But Deebo Samuel, absolute dog. Without Deebo, we don't win this game either. And again, I mean, without a lot of these players, we don't win this game. It was simply a team effort, a group effort to come in there and get that win Sunday. And then moving on to the final game ball, this one's tough, man, because, again, you could give it to Brandon Ayuk, you could give it to Steve Wilkes, you could give it to Kyle Shanahan. I got to go Brock Purdy, man. What he was able to do down 17 coming out at half, I can't remember his exact stats off the top of my head in the second half. I want to say it was 13 for 16, over 150 yards passing, and a touchdown to go along with that. And he also had 5 carries for 48 total yards in the game, but he had 3 carries in the second half and on one single drive that pretty much got in his entire rushing yards for the entire game. Brock Purdy, dog. Brock Purdy is that guy. I don't know why he continues to get hate, because week in and week out he continues to prove people wrong, and he did it again this week with using his legs and making high-level throws. The throw that he made to Kyle Juszczyk on the sideline for the first down when he escaped the pressure, that's stuff like Lamar Jackson does. And for Brock Purdy to be able to do that, and not only that, but make high-level throws for us to, keep drives alive. Brock Purdy is one of the main reasons, if not the reason, the Niners came back and won down 17. And I'm not going to say he was the reason. I mean, you can arguably, say without Brock Purdy making these plays and getting them to their, to the playmakers, we don't win this game, which is very true. But the playmakers made some big time plays as well. You can't discredit those guys. But I mean, without Brock Purdy, along with McCaffrey and Deebo, we don't win this game whatsoever. His ability to make high level throws, not only that, but his scrambling in that fourth quarter, man, was like some like Steve Montana stuff, or Steve Young stuff and Joe Montana stuff. Realistically, it reminded me more of Steve Young, because Steve Young could scramble like no other, and he could extend plays and make something out of nothing. But Brock Purdy scrambling, in that fourth quarter when we needed big time plays and when we needed yards and first downs, like that stuff put us over the top to continue to keep drives alive and eventually score the football. So, yeah, man, I got to go Brock Purdy, like without a doubt. Like I'm so glad Brock Purdy is our quarterback. I'm so glad that we really lucked out when drafting him, because he's proved a lot of people wrong. And I'm not going to lie, going into the season, and I've said this before, but going into the season, I was fine with Brock Purdy as a starter. I knew he would have success, but I didn't think Brock Purdy was really going to put on a performance this season like he's been doing. So shout out Brock Purdy. The guy's a stud. I'm so glad that he's our quarterback, and I wouldn't want any other quarterback going into this Super Bowl playing the Kansas City Chiefs. This team plays for him. This team obviously rallies behind him. Brock Purdy, true leader, humble beast. He's him. So just to recap here, Christian McCaffrey, game ball number 1. Deebo Samuel, game ball number 2. And Brock Purdy, game ball number 3. And then a couple honorable mentions here. Brandon Ayuk, the catch he had when, you guys know the play I'm talking about. Purdy throws a bomb to him. The ball bounces off. I can't remember the DB's last name, but the ball bounces off the DB's face mask. Somehow, one way or another, gravity was on our side, and the ball falls right into Brandon Ayuk's hands. One hell of a catch. And then to go along with that, 2 plays later, he catches a strike from Brock Purdy for a touchdown. So, yeah, without a doubt, you could easily go Brandon Ayuk, honorable mention here. Without a doubt, Fred Warner, 9 tackles total, led the team once again in tackling. Nick Bosa could also be a honorable mention. He had 2 sacks. But other than that, man, like it was a good group effort. Like there was really nobody that struggled other than Jake Moody, which, here's the thing, man. Like we're not going to go on a limb here before the Super Bowl and sign a kicker. Like he is our kicker for the Super Bowl. So as Niners fans, man, like we're just going to have to put faith in the kid. I get he's a rookie, and, I get the whole, pressure thing and this and that, playing on the Niners as a starting kicker as a rookie, but, God, he's got to be better, man. Like, we used a 3rd-round pick on him, and, that field goal he missed early on in the game could have really costed us if we hadn't did what we did and came back after halftime. So, Jake Moody, he worries me a lot. I mean, here's the thing, though. He did kind of make up for it somewhat because he did make that field goal to put us up 27-24 towards the end of that game. But something that's crazy, too, and I don't know if you guys out there have noticed this, but it seems like every time he misses a field goal, it's like from 48, 49 yards out. Like, I don't understand why, but, like, he'll drill a 50-yarder, but he struggles inside the 40 for some reason. I don't know why. And, it was an outdoor game. It didn't seem like there was too much wind. Maybe there was a gust of wind that kind of took it and ended up missing, but he worries me, man. I mean, especially going into the Super Bowl, because God forbid we're in a situation where, we're down by 2 and there's 2 seconds in the fourth and Jake Moody's lining up for a 40-yard field goal attempt. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like my confidence is not gonna be full, and that's fine. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are kind of feeling the same way about that. But at the end of the day, man, like if Jake Moody hit the field goal in that scenario, like that guy's the hero. Like I'll forever love Jake Moody. And it's not like I don't want. Like, it's not like I feel like we should move on from Jake Moody by any means, but, I mean, again, he's a rookie, highly touted 3rd-round pick, though. I mean, we took a kicker in the 3rd round, So that, says enough about how the Niners felt about him coming out of Michigan. But it just, it's one of those things where I get kickers are going to struggle, and you got to take the good with the bad. But I mean, in a situation where the Niners are down and they need a field goal or they need points, and Jake Moody misses a field goal, like, it's just going to make things that much harder. And that's, again, I mean, we seen that on Sunday when he missed the field goal to keep the score at 14-0, or I'm pretty sure it was 14-0 when he lined up and missed that field goal. But yeah, man, I mean, I got faith in Jake Moody. I don't want to give up on the guy, but these struggles have to, he can't do this in the biggest game of his life, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on everybody in the game, but we need Jake Moody to just do his thing. No pressure. Just do your thing. Make a field goal. And again, I mean, it's not like he absolutely sucked against Detroit. He was 2 for 3. But again, man, 2 for 3 is not 3 for 3. And with Robbie Gould, I know he was pretty much good as gold in the playoffs, but there was times Robbie Gould struggled as well. But the thing is, man, with Jake Moody, that's the reason the Niners drafted him, is because he had such a big leg. He's got insane kick power. It's just the accuracy sometimes. I mean, obviously he missed the game winner in Cleveland earlier this year, which was a game that I was at. He struggled the following week against Minnesota. So I got faith in you, Moody. You just got to show up in the Super Bowl when your name's called on. That's all Niner faithful's asking. I don't really know why I got on a rant about Jake Moody, but needed to get that off my chest. But yeah, I mean, going back to the game balls thing, Steve Wilkes could be an honorable mention. Kyle Shanahan, he was 2-29 when trailing at 14 at half. Kyle Shanahan finally gets the monkey off his back with that record and, improves that record somewhat. He also did it against Green Bay. So, Kyle Shanahan in these last 2 games did something that he hasn't done a lot, and that's coming from behind. Sounded weird, but come from behind and he's won the game. So yeah, man, I mean, like I said, I think when it comes to this team, and each and every week I come on here and talk about game balls, there's plenty of guys I can give game balls to, and that's simply just because this team is so talented, and there's guys week in and week out making plays. It also doesn't help that it helps obviously that the roster's loaded. I could go down the list and give each, Kyle Juszczyk, he came out of nowhere, had that catch along the sideline that Brock Purdy threw. He came alive when we needed him to, made big catches. So those would be my game balls, though. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and Deebo Samuel. Those are who I think deserve the most credit for the win, in my opinion. But again, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, there's some Brandon Ayuk even. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, if he doesn't score that touchdown or if he doesn't make that catch, who knows what happens. So it's tough choosing that third one, especially knowing the game that Ayuk had. But I got to go Deebo, man. He had 8 catches. He was all over the place. So let me know who you guys think deserves these game balls, in the win over the Lions. But yeah, man, with that being said, as always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.